Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. The ability to read the room is a skill that seems to be lost with current day studios, whether they are in movies, TV show, or video games. And the damage that this can cause can go a long way. In this case, we have this lovely little article from the Park Place. Bungie senior narrative designer defends Sweet Baby Inc. tells gamers you need to grow up. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Bungie makes a rather popular game. They used to make a popular game, or do they still make Halo? I'm guilty of never playing Halo. I'm sorry, I'm not a real gamer, but I did play Destiny and Destiny 2. Loved pretty much all of my experience in Destiny. No matter how often I load it back up and get into the newest season, I'm always having fun, regardless of the new meta or anything like that. I play for fun. But apparently the sales figures, the pre-sales for the next big expansion are down quite a bit. I haven't played Destiny in quite some time. I haven't been following it, so I can't remember what the next one is. But it's supposed to be the end of the Light and Dark saga, the return of Cade, and I might pop in to see what's going on, maybe, perhaps. But the senior narrative designer had a few things to say that might come back to bite him in the butt. John F. Trent writes here, a senior narrative designer for Bungie, you're doing it again, John. You already said that. Chose to defend Sweet Baby Inc. and even parroted comments made by the company's CEO telling gamers they need to grow up. Now, of course, you want to get the entire quote, so let's keep going with the article. Ex-user Thickest Yosh, whose profile claims he is a senior narrative designer for Bungie, wrote, quote, if you're mad about DEI ruining games, end quote, you need to grow up. Here we go again. He continued, you need to stop wasting so much time on grifters who are only there to manipulate you and milk your anger for engagement. You need to talk to people who aren't like you a bit more. My goodness, what do you seem to be insinuating there, Thickest Yosh? Are you insinuating that gamers who are a little upset about everything going on with their games don't want to associate or talk to people that aren't like them? My goodness, you're almost calling them bigots. My feelings are, well, they would be if I had any. You need to stop falling for this. No, what people need to stop falling for is the gaslighting, the name calling. Whenever you're upset, the criticism, the name calling from the criticism. You criticize one little thing, anything, whether it's big, small, or whatever, you get labeled a bigot, a homophobe, an istophobe, all manner of nasty, nasty names out there. And unfortunately, those names don't mean anything anymore. So, yeah, we're kind of ignoring them. They're almost a badge of honor as a content creator when you criticize the next big thing. Just consume product. Get excited for next product. Well, people can't do that anymore, especially gamers. They're getting tired of having the next carbon copy product shoveled down their throat for a $70 price, especially for a $70 price tag with battle pass options and the promise of free content, when the game itself and the dialogue and the story are utter hot garbage. And when they find out that one or two particular so-called consulting companies are involved with that game, they start digging, they start forming opinions, and they start listening. They are paying attention. They're not wasting their time on grifters. They're going out, hopefully, I highly recommend it. Go out, do your own research, find your own opinion, find different opinions. I always recommend that. Never follow one single channel. I definitely don't recommend that, because if you find one channel that you agree with, then you're only going to get one side of it. Get a couple of them out there. You don't have to agree with everything on everybody, on any one person. You're going to disagree. That makes conversations far more interesting, but that's another tangent. Thickest Yosh commentary echoes what Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair had said back in 2019 about straight white male gamers, the bane of the gaming industry. She compared them to picky babies. Oh, that was such a fun little speech. In the presentation at Game Developer Conference, she said, I think in the industry and in so many creative industries, if you want to look at film and television or any art form, or are you trying to say video games is an actual art form? That might be the first. You just gained a point. You lost 100, but you gained 1. We start treating our core demographics as a fixed and static value, something that does not want to change, and something that is locked in place. That is probably the most basic, uninteresting description to call your core demographic. They don't want to change. Here's what the core demographic doesn't want to change. Your core demographic, let's say 80% of your demographic is the feared, nasty, straight white male gamer. Why on earth would you try to cater more to the other 20% when you have the possibility of losing half of that 80%? I don't understand that. It's basic economics. If it sells, make more of it. Put more out on the shelf, so to speak. If it doesn't sell, stop making it. That's how you run a business. Everything going on, you're trying to, and that's not to say that there's anything wrong with diversity, inclusion, and equity. Of course not. Again, I'm going to beat the dead horse into the ground because I'm so tired of the gaslighting. I'm so tired of the deflection, of the disingenuous arguments coming out of this side of the discussion. Gamers ultimately do not care about diversity, inclusion, or representation, or equity. They don't care about any of that things. Here's what gamers care about. They care about interesting stories. Well, first and foremost, they care about solid gameplay with very few bugs and glitches. If your game has massive laundry list of bugs and glitches causing you to crash every 2 hours, if you're not a just masochistic individual like me, you will stop playing, you will refund the game, or you will just forget about it, move on to something else. If every other character is T-posing in the game, no matter how many bug fixes they put in, a month later, you're not going to play the game. If cars blow up, if cars fall through the floor, if you fall through the terrain into nothingness, people are just not going to play your game. After that, generally, is the story. Where did I go with? I started with gameplay mechanics, things like that. If it's fun, if the, what is it? The, oh crap, moving on. Gameplay loop. Lord have mercy words. If the gameplay loop is fun, people will continue to play it. It has good replay value. Follow that up with the story, with the characters, with the even with the NPCs. None of that has anything to do with diversity, inclusion, and equity, but you want to continue to claim that the dreaded white male gamer is mad about DIE. They're not. They're mad about piss-poor stories. They're mad about buggy games, games that come across as the DIE was first and foremost, and the story and the characters and everything else suffered because of it. And that's what they're fed up. That's what they're tired of. And they're not going to continue to give you $70 for your game. Back to the original idea of this article. As a lead senior narrative designer for a game, and you come out and run your mouth on a subject that a good bit, I'm not going to say the vast majority, a good bit of your paying customer or your prospective customer is upset about, and you come out and tell them they need to grow up. That's a wonderful idea. Keep doing that and see how much your business continues, how much money you're going to make. See how the sales of the next expansion of Destiny 2 turn out when your narrative designer, your senior narrative designer comes out on Twitter forever telling gamers they need to grow up, insult the customer. It's working for Hollywood. Let's see how it works for the gaming industry. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things us YouTubers beg you to do, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.